I think there's a great amount of relief both in the family and more widely in the constituency that he has got the maximum term possible, because he showed no remorse, absolutely none, no shame. He deliberately pleaded not guilty despite admitting the fact that he'd done it. So he put the Amess family through that entire trial, in which there was some very, very difficult detail to be absorbed. And I think there's no doubt at all that the judge was always going to impose this because there were no mitigating factors.
I know that you're close friends with the Amess family, and you've been with them and in contact with them throughout this trial process. Can't begin to imagine how difficult a process that must have been for them.
Indeed, but they've now asked for privacy. They've made their final statement, and I don't intend to comment any more on that. I'm now speaking solely for myself, and it's been very difficult for everybody concerned.
And as far as Ali Harbi Ali is concerned, even instructing his solicitor not to put any mitigation forward, it's clear that this is a young man who seems to be proud of the horror he's inflicted here.
Well, he's been very, very thoroughly radicalised. And I found it very disturbing, I always do when it happens, that somebody who is educated, articulate, clever, intelligent, is not civilised and can consider this a reasonable thing to do, indeed a thing of which he can be proud. That is very difficult to process. I mean, you expect people who are disadvantaged maybe can't work out what they're doing, but surely there should have been some empathy there, and yet there wasn't. Just none. He didn't care what he did to the family. There was no empathy at all.
And we know that there were some signs of his radicalisation as far back as 2014, where he was referred to the Prevent and Channel programmes. That was an alert teacher. How concerned are you that only a tiny fraction of the referrals to these counter-radicalisation programmes are coming from family and friends?
Well, let me say, first of all, it's very easy to be knowledgeable in retrospect, and I do understand they're going to get some things wrong. I do understand that. But nevertheless, what I would say is this, that to families, if they think that sons, brothers, whatever it might be, are becoming radicalised, or daughters for that matter, sisters, if people are becoming radicalised, report it, because you'll not only be saving the potential victims, you'll actually be doing your relative a favour, because this man now, he's going to spend 50, maybe 60 years in prison, confined to a narrow cell, a restricted exercise yard. He's never going to walk in the free country. He's never going to see any beauty of sunsets. And he's never even going to be able to do something ordinary like go shopping and buy a cup of coffee. That is all denied to him. So I would say to families, if you've got any suspicions, think of your relative as well. If you can't think beyond that to the victims, think of the relative. This is what's waiting for him. And that's why I'm glad he wasn't shot. He didn't get his martyrdom. This is what is waiting for them.
Finally, on the safety of politicians, we've seen, of course, instances in the past where Joe Cox was murdered, Stephen Timms was the subject of a knife attack, other politicians have been attacked and abused over the years. Is there more that could and should be done? You were a government minister yourself. Is there more that can be done in an open democracy where you have to remain accessible to the public?
I think there's got to be a balance. I don't think David would be pleased if in his name constituents and MPs were to become distanced from each other. He always wanted to be among his constituents. I used to walk with him in town centres in his constituency. He couldn't get 2 yards before somebody would come up to him and talk to him, and he would always engage. And that is so important. And any erosion of that is actually an erosion of democracy and of the proper representative process. Now, I do understand that precautions have to be taken. I do understand that. They must be proportionate. We mustn't overdo it.
OK, Anne Widdecombe, thank you very much indeed for talking to us live on GB News there, giving her first reaction to the sentence that was passed on Ali Harbi Ali, that whole life tariff. And I'll leave you with the thoughts of Ali Harbi Ali's victims' families, the families of Sir David Amess, who said that what really really upsets them more than anything is to think that their loved one, Sir David Amess, would have greeted this young man with a smile and a handshake, would have been determined to do what he could to help Ali Harbi Ali, and instead, of course, was brutally murdered.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.